talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, or should I say the reigning, defending back-to-back Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Legally obligated to mention that every time we talk about them. But this time, they kind of deserve it because the Chiefs were able to absolutely clean up in the undrafted free agent market. Brett Veach came out, gave some of his comments on guys he got in the undrafted free agent market that he was so surprised he was able to get. Let's get into the article and we can talk about more of this on the other side. This is from over on A to Z Sports and says Brett Veach told Kerwin and Miller he was surprised to see several players available when day 3 ended. He named a trio of players out of the Chiefs' latest group of 17 undrafted free agents that he signed after the 2024 draft, who he feels still have a chance to compete for a roster spot on the 53-man roster this season. Just incredible. There's 3 guys that are potentially undrafted and going to make a roster spot. He said, as you mentioned, I think there are a few guys of these guys we were surprised by a couple of signings we had, Veach said. We're surprised a couple of these guys didn't get drafted. I mean, the linebacker from Penn State, Curtis Jacobs, tackle from Marshall, Ethan Driscoll. In both of those cases, we were really close to pulling the trigger on them on either the 6th or the 7th, and we ended up getting both of those guys. Fabian Lovett, another D tackle from Florida State. 3 guys there, I think all 3 of those guys we're excited about, and all 3 of those guys have a chance to earn spots on the roster this year. Nick, I think this is incredible value by the Chiefs. I think this is just maybe a little bit lucky for these guys to fall, but to have that grade, maybe no one else saw what the Chiefs saw in these guys. I'm curious, though, what your thoughts are. But before we get to you, Chiefs fans, in the comment section below, let us know, who do you think is going to be the gem of this draft class? I know that we've seen a lot of guys, we've heard about a lot of guys, but minicamp starting, OTAs are starting. Before they show out on the field, get into your predictions. Who's going to be the one guy that pops out of nowhere and becomes the next, Isaiah Pacheco? Let us know in comment section below. But Nick, what are your thoughts on these gets by the Chiefs?
So, Miles, you used the word incredible, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing from Brett Veach and the Kansas City Chiefs here. Because we've done a lot of research, you and I, on this channel over the past week or so, diving into each and every team, looking at their entire undrafted free agent class, and see which teams maybe found one guy that was a big time value move. And not every team, not some teams didn't find any, right? But we found a couple of teams that found one guy that's oh, this is a really good value, or oh, this guy has a chance to really make an impact, right? And we've talked about a couple of teams that have done a good job finding one guy in their entire undrafted free agent class. What the Chiefs have done here is absolutely redonkulous. To find 3 guys, 3 high value opportunities in the undrafted free agent class is absolutely insane. And let's go through each one of these guys real quick. So Curtis Jacobs, according to NFL.com, was a 5th round target prospect. This was a guy who was a 3-year starter at Penn State, honorable mention, all Big Ten, 4.5 40, 35-inch vertical, 10.4 broad jump, right? This guy reads like a guy who should be at least a 4th, 5th, maybe 6th round draft pick. Undrafted free agent pickup by the Kansas City Chiefs. That by itself would have been unbelievable. But that's just part 1. Part 2, of course, I think is Fabian Lovett's a great example. This was a guy who was also slated to be a 5th round prospect by NFL.com. Played a lot of college football. He played in the SEC, also played in the ACC for Florida State, had a lot of great physical tools, great athleticism. He was kind of comp to Eddie Goldman, the longtime NFL interior defensive tackle. So again, you've got a guy in Lovett here. A lot of people had him as a 5th round guy. Getting him in the 6th round or maybe the 7th would have been a steal. The Chiefs undrafted free agent. Again, Lovett by itself would have been a great move just by himself. But when you throw Lovett with Jacobs, now you got 2. And to wrap it all up, you got Ethan Driscoll, the massive tackle. This guy's 6'8" with 35-inch arms, right? This guy has all the physical tools you could ever possibly want in an NFL tackle. He needs to clean up a lot of things technically and production-wise, but NFL.com, their draft analysis, Lance Zierlein, he said this guy is the ideal draft and stash candidate. What that means is draft him 6th, 7th round, bury him on the practice squad, bury him in the depth chart, and develop him. Give him a year or 2, maybe 3, and he could become, with his physical tool set, a really nice player. So again, Driscoll by himself would have been a nice undrafted free agent get. But when you factor in Driscoll and Lovett and Jacobs all together, you get the most incredible undrafted free agent class out of any team in football. And this is why the Chiefs are great. Patrick Mahomes is wonderful. We know he's outstanding. Andy Reid is one of the great offensive minds in NFL history. That's undeniable. Kelsey will be in the Hall of Fame. Jones will be in the Hall of Fame someday as well. But it's the ability to find hidden gems more frequently than any other team in football, whether it's in the second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, seventh round, they're undrafted free agency. The Chiefs with Brett Veach and his staff are smarter, and then they're better than everybody else at doing this. And this latest news is just further proof of just that.
Yeah, Nate. And, all of these guys are great. It's like you said, all of these guys are incredible steals at the undrafted position. The guy that really stands out to me is a linebacker from Penn State, Curtis Jacobs. If you look at Athletics, the Beast, their big time draft booklet where they go in depth on every draft prospect, they grade all the linebackers. The ones that they have graded, there's 32 linebackers that they did an in depth deep dive on. Jacobs ranks as number 10 on the list. This is the 10th best linebacker in this class, and he went undrafted. This is a guy who only missed 2 games in all of college, so injury concerns, nothing there for Jacobs. This is a guy who was honorable mention All Big Ten 2 times in a row his last 2 years at Penn State. So, he's been doing well in the Big Ten. He was a 5-star prospect coming out of high school. Maybe you could say he underperformed a slight amount for he was an absolute, Micah Parsons level superstar at Penn State. But this is a guy who did really good. He was very productive all throughout college. I think the only knock on him really is he needs to get his coverage skills up a little bit better. He's got great athleticism. He can play the run really well. He just gets lost in traffic a little bit too often. But outside of that, this guy is doing a lot of great things all over the field. I have no idea how he went undrafted. So it's guys like this, offensive lineman steal, defensive lineman steal for the Chiefs. You gotta love those kind of moves because Chiefs always are gonna have to be looking to develop offensive linemen now that you have, the best quarterback in the league, but also a guy that's getting paid a lot of money as well. You're gonna have to kind of be able to be smart, be savvy, and develop guys and get them to work into this offense over time. These are great pickups. I think this just shows, like you said, the Chiefs, Brett Veach, they've done it time and time again. And I think we've seen another draft where the Chiefs have hit it out of the park. And there's a couple of guys they got for major bargain deals that could become, participating starters on the roster.